Greetings and welcome to Marvel Basics with your boy, BMarvel. So this week I'm going to be discussing one of the best comic book movies of all times. And of course, I'm talking about Avengers! Yes, Avengers! So this movie, it comes from Marvel Studios, and it was in association with Paramount Picture, which normally the previous films, Paramount was the first studio, and then Marvel came after it. So a bit of a switch up, probably because they knew this one was going to make some cash. This was released May 4th of 2012, and it was directed by Joss Whedon. Thank you, Joss, for giving us this film, because it is just... I'm going to start by saying that it's just a fantastic movie. It balances between like drama, action, the chemistry from all the actors playing the roles were just absolutely fantastic. Even all the side characters like Nick Fury, Phil Coulson, Maria Hill, you were just like, you know what? They matter too. Black Widow was fantastic in this movie. She had more in-depth look as to who she is in this movie than they did in Iron Man 2, where she was first introduced. Next, this has awesome action scenes, like from the beginning, like from Loki teleporting onto Earth through the Tesseract, and then taking down the whole Shield base. That was fantastic. Having them fight each other. Like, watching the fight between Iron Man, Thor, and then Captain America comes in at the end was awesome. Watching Black Widow and Hawkeye fight each other, fantastic. Who doesn't like to watch two assassins go at each other? Black Widow versus the Hulk, then Hulk versus Thor. I mean, all of those dynamics of fighting was amazing. And then, of course, you can talk about the last 20 minutes for hours of that film. That's how good it is. Another thing that was fantastic about this film was that they showed like team combo attacks. So going back to when Captain America and Thor were semi-fighting and Thor brought the hammer down and it just sends out this huge shockwave. Awesome. Captain America with Iron Man towards the end when Iron Man shoots one of his beams to the shield and he deflects it to hit enemies. Awesome. Then let's talk about how Hulk slammed a piece of metal into he was a huge Chitauri. We'll just call him that, the big alien. And then Thor slammed his Mjolnir into it and electrocuted him. Awesome. Fantastic movie. But this, just like any other movie, there were a couple bad sides. I have a quick fun fact for you, though. Edward Norton did not return as the Hulk because he wanted to be more creatively involved with being the Hulk. So they didn't give him enough say. So that was an interesting point. They didn't let Edward have his way with how the Hulk was being portrayed or how they were going to tell the storyline. So now we have Mark Ruffalo, which I'm not exactly mad about because the first Hulk was just terrible. But maybe it would have been different if Edward Norton had more say in it. Do you think that that's a possibility? Let me know in the comments below. So something that I didn't like about the film was a good chunk of it happened on the Shield helicarrier. So that was just like same scenery, but I get it, like you have them get together and then they're up in the air on a helicarrier for a ton of the movie. So that was a dislike. Another dislike is Loki was a good villain and I like Loki, but he could have been way more evil. Like, there wasn't really too many casualties. He didn't, like, reign terror. He wasn't, like, himself delivering chaos until he opened up the portal to let the Chitauri through and attack New York. I didn't like that Hawkeye was controlled at the beginning. I get it. It's cool. I didn't want to see any of the other heroes get mind controlled like that. But I don't know. I just feel like Hawkeye should have been one of the safe ones. It would have been more intense if like Captain America was brainwashed for a while at the beginning of the film. Like that would have been fun. Next, the Phil Coulson death. Why him? Why poor Phil Coulson? Why couldn't it have been like Maria Hill or one of the other random SHIELD agents? Not my Phil Coulson. I really liked him. But then they brought him back on Agents of SHIELD, and it just, I guess that it all works out just fine. I also, a couple more things that I like, so I end this on a positive note, because that's how great this movie is. At the very end, when you see all of them standing in the circle together, and the camera goes around them, and it just is epic. Oh my god, it's breathtaking. Like, I know that you guys get on Facebook and you see different memes featuring that little part of the movie. You're welcome for that. It was also really cool to watch them fight the waves of the Chitauri, all the aliens that were in New York, just to see them like let loose. Hulk smashing into things was awesome. Thor, Captain America, they were just flawless. And to watch them fight waves and waves and waves of these aliens, and you see some of them get tired out, but then they still just they gotta pull through. They gotta save New York. You guys are the heroes. You guys are awesome. And then there were two really standout heroes at the very end of the movie. I would have to say Hulk, because he's terrifying. Like, when he slammed Loki around and called him a puny god, and Loki just laid there like, please just take me now. It was hilarious, but also really satisfying to see how strong the Hulk is. I like to see how far superheroes can go. Like, I like to see the full extent of their powers. Next would have to be Iron Man. Up from Iron Man, the first one, up until Avengers, you just see how Tony Stark is more of a selfish man, kind of in for himself, but he is still going to keep the world saved, so not completely selfish. Anyway, to see him take that nuke into the wormhole, and it seemed like that he wasn't going to come out, that was intense and super deep, like, because he left Earth for a while. He saw what was out there, and he saw what was coming New York's way. So from that moment on, Tony will not be the same moving forward in the MCU. So this was just a fantastic film. I love Avengers. Definitely one of my top 3 movies of all time. And it was just epic! So next I'm going to talk about some of the Easter eggs that I found in Avengers. So first is the life model decoy. You hear Tony answer his phone and tell Phil Coulson, you have reached the life model decoy of Tony Stark. So that's a way for them in the comic books. The SHIELD agents, they send out life model decoys in case missions are too dangerous. It's to keep people alive. So it would have been interesting if Phil Coulson got killed just to find out it was actually a decoy. But no, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. made it into something with Tahiti, and the first season of that show is a little rough. But it's Marvel, so of course I'm going to watch it. So next I have when Thor and Loki were standing up top talking, on top of the mountain talking, there were these ravens that flew by. These ravens are called Hugin and Muggin, and those are Odin's ravens. So Odin has these 2 special ravens that he sends out to keep an eye on different things in the realms, and he's able to see it. So it was a really cool nod to see the ravens flying around, and Odin is always watching. Next is number 3, when Tony is talking to Loki and he says Earth's mightiest heroes. That is a tagline that comes from the comic books pretty often. The Avengers are always going to be Earth's mightiest heroes. Next, I have the Bruce Banner suicide scene. So, funny Easter egg about that is you hear Bruce Banner talking about how he basically put a gun in his mouth, pulled the trigger, and the other guy spit it out. That was actually a deleted scene that they decided to take out of the movie because they said that it was too dark. But I agree, but I also disagree. You need to also show the negative side of having superpowers sometimes, because everyone thinks that having superpowers is one of the best things in the world, but until you have them and you have to deal with that reality, not everyone's so gung-ho about it. And then final, I have the Stan Lee cameo. So at the very end of the movie, when everyone's celebrating and talking about the Avengers, there's this little clip of Stan Lee, and he's like, "Heroes in New York," and it makes you go wild. Stan Lee has been in every single Marvel movie, and I absolutely love that man. So then we have the post-credit scene. So at the very end of the film, we get our first look at like the MCU's big villain, the big bad, the ultimate Thanos. So you see his hand, he places it down, he stands up, and he looks to the side, and you see a half smile, and I lost it. It's Thanos, he's coming, and what Thanos means the Infinity Gauntlet, and possibly the Infinity War, and Infinity Stones, and it's just massive. Marvel, you guys are a true blessing to me. Lastly, let's discuss the box office numbers for the film that come from boxofficemojo.com. So, Avengers was budgeted for $220 million. Opening weekend, it made $207.4 million. It was the number one ranked movie in 4,349 different theaters. Domestically, it made $623.3 million. Foreign, it made $895.4 million, giving it a total combined worldwide total of $1.5 billion, with a B. Yes, $billion. So comparing the other MCU movies to it, as far as opening weekends go, Avengers opened at $207.4 million, and under that would be Iron Man 2 that opened at $128.1 million. That's a pretty decent gap. I'm really interested to see what next MCU movie will either beat Avengers or come second place on the line, because Iron Man 2 had the hold until Avengers came out. So, what other characters do you think should have been mind-controlled instead of Hawkeye? Or were you okay with Hawkeye being the one that basically took it for the team? Did you think that this film needed War Machine included in it? Does he not count as a hero? Is War Machine just a sidekick that tags along with Tony just for whenever we need him? So just let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, share this video if you'd like it. I would appreciate it. And make sure to follow me on Facebook at BMarvel. And I will see you nerds next time. Thanks.